Hi, my name is Skylar Purvis with Group 3, and we're representing Belize.
Belize is located on the eastern coast of Central America. It's bordered by Mexico to the north, Guatemala to the west and south, and the Caribbean Sea to the east. It's formerly known as British Honduras, and it gained independence from the United Kingdom in 1981. It's the only country in Central America where English is the official language. However, Spanish, Creole, and indigenous languages are also widely spoken. Belize is internationally recognized for its environmental assets. It's home to the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System, second largest barrier reef in the world. It's part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it contains extensive protected areas, rainforests, and Maya archaeological sites. The population in Belize is approximately 400,000. The population is composed of several ethnic groups, which is shown in the chart on the right. The country is noted for its ethnic diversity, not homogeneity. Diversity can influence social dynamics, public policy, and inclusive development approaches. As noted in the textbook in Chapter 6, ethnic diversity can both enrich society and pose challenges in building trust and delivering public goods. The economic profile for Belize is a small upper middle income economy. The economy relies heavily on tourism, agriculture, particularly sugar, citrus, and bananas, and services. Despite its economic potential, Belize faces challenges such as external debt, income inequality, and vulnerability to natural disasters. The GDP per capita is a frequently used measure of economic development because it represents the average income earned per person in a given year. As of 2023, it was estimated at 6,466 US dollars. It's influenced by a relatively narrow economic base. Tourism contributes significantly to both GDP and foreign exchange earnings. However, it also makes the economy vulnerable to external shocks such as global recessions or pandemics. While GDP per capita gives an average measure, income distribution within Belize remains uneven. Rural areas, indigenous populations, and women are often disproportionately affected by poverty.
This is Tisha, and I'll be speaking about the economic profile and natural resources of Belize. Over 60% of forest in Belize supports ecotourism and limits timber exports because they want to keep their forests sustainable, so because of the tourism. They also have the Belize Barrier Reef, which is a World Heritage Site and a pillar of marine-based livelihood. Crops that grow in arable land are also very successful there, like citrus, sugarcane, bananas. Conservation areas are also abundant and reflect a natural focus on biodiversity and sustainable development, which speaks back to the ecotourism link. That is a huge draw for people to come and visit the beautiful country. Oil production has declined in recent years. They don't export a lot of oil, but it still contributes to export and as well as their government revenue.
Belize currency, the Belize dollar, has a fixed exchange rate of 1 USD to 2 BZD, and it's been stable for years. This predictability is great for businesses and tourists since there's no guessing game with conversion costs, but there's a trade-off. While stability helps control inflation, it also means Belize Central Bank can't easily adjust rates to boost exports. Still, for a small economy, the system keeps things steady. And the trade partners for exports is the United States, United Kingdom, Guatemala, Honduras, and Spain. The imports are the United States, China, Mexico, and Guatemala. follows CARICOM's common external tariff, with import taxes ranging from 5% to 40%. The higher rates protect local farmers and businesses, but there's special licenses that are needed for alcohol, medicine, and even some foods. Plus, strict conservation laws limit exports of timber or artifacts, which is great for sustainability but can also slow trade growth. Trade here is governed by the Belize Customs Act, with rules on everything from imported paperwork to product valuation. As part of the CARICOM and the World Trade Organization, Belize gets perks like lower tariffs with the European Union and the US, but outdated ports and slow processing still create bottlenecks, unfortunately. Talk about some strengths. Belize's location between Mexico and the Caribbean is perfect for trade and tourism if they upgraded their infrastructure. Plus, with a median age of 25, the workforce is young and ready to innovate. And it is the only English-speaking country in the region that's a major plus for attracting global businesses. Let's talk about some of the advantages. So beyond tourism, Belize has a serious potential in organic farming. Think cacao and exotic fruits and renewable energy. Solar and hydro could cut energy costs and pique the interest of green investors. And the local small businesses with the right marketing skills, artist goods could go global.
In recent years, Belize has become a strong contender as far as their natural capital, their tourism attractions, their exports and agriculture, and some of their other external supports and banking improvements. So, with their natural capital and tourism, they are known for their coral reef, their rainforests and Mayan ruins, which brings in greater than 1/3 of their GDP and provides employment opportunities for the locals. Another pro is that they are an English speaking country and they have recently joined the CARICOM, which allows them to trade with the US, the UK, and other countries throughout the Caribbean. Their exports and agriculture has become a part of their more recent strengths, specifically their ability to export sugar, citrus, bananas, fish, and recently, even more so, some mining. This has equated to approximately $30 million, according to the World Bank investment. And then, as far as their external support and banking improvements, they recently have teamed up with some debt for nature swaps, which has decreased their GDP from 2020 to which was 103% and is now somewhere between the 66 and 72% as of 2023. Another strength of theirs has recently become their foreign exchange, and even more recently, their improvements to their tax collections, their access to credit, and financial inclusions. Belize is up and coming as far as advancing from their lower economic stature, as evidenced by their strengths. However, many of their weaknesses actually stem from their strengths. Their high dependence on their tourism, which is directly impacted through natural disasters such as hurricanes and earthquakes. Additionally, their ports and airports are not meant for the influx of tourism that they have seen. For example, a few years back, I actually took a cruise ship to Belize, and due to the infrastructure of their ports, the cruise ships cannot directly dock there. So the cruise ship docks out at sea, you get on a charter boat, and then the charter boat takes you to land. While Belize, that works for their current system, they really need to make investments into how to make their ports and importing areas and exporting areas better as far as the infrastructure, especially since they rely heavily on imports, such as their fuel and other energy sources. So that means that they need to start looking at investments in their imports and exports to continue with their enhancements. In addition to these issues, they still have a high poverty and inequality, which leads to high crime and high corruption, which then makes it a risky chance for investors to want to aid in investing.
This is Tisha, and I'll be speaking about the economic profile and natural resources of Belize. Over 60% of forest in Belize supports ecotourism and limits timber exports because they want to keep their forests sustainable, so because of the tourism. They also have the Belize Barrier Reef, which is a World Heritage Site and a pillar of marine-based livelihood. Crops that grow in arable land are also very successful there, like citrus, sugarcane, bananas. Conservation areas are also abundant and reflect a natural focus on biodiversity and sustainable development, which speaks back to the ecotourism link. That is a huge draw for people to come and visit the beautiful country. Oil production has declined in recent years. They don't export a lot of oil, but it still contributes to export and as well as their government revenue. Just to give a quick snapshot of Belize's trade and to explain the graph on slide 15, they have a very small garment export. Citrus is a little bit larger, and then bananas and sugar. But on the import side, the construction machinery and other machinery and oil are both huge imports, with regular construction imports and food just falling slightly behind those. Policy recommendations for Belize, and this is Tish. My recommendation would be for them to invest in climate-resistant agriculture because, again, as they are very susceptible to events related to climate that would devastate them economically. Agriculture is vulnerable to droughts and hurricanes, according to the Statistical Institute of Belize. Recommended strategies, of course, would be finding drought-resistant crops, training farmers, and then using some adaptive tech to make things work and to sort of level the playing field there. Those efforts can definitely stabilize rural incomes and reduce poverty. Crops on the following slide, which I'll discuss, were chosen due to their resilience and adaptability to Belize's climate and resources. Yucca, sorghum, pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, black guy peas, breadfruit, and moringa would all be really good suggested crops to try, and then to get some tech and some agriculture in there to help them be successful with those.